Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is OctoMan, and in this Missile command series, we are going to continue working on a prototype, which later on is purchasable in my or on my website. I'm gonna post the links down below whenever, let's say, this prototype has been completed. So in this session, I want to go and create some kind of shop behavior, which means we're gonna have like 4 or 3 things to gonna be upgraded. So we have a possibility to use our coins or our score or both, and then go and purchase, let's say, some upgrade for, let's say, firepower is not really needed, but let's say rocket speed, for example. So the rockets can fly faster to their destination, or we're gonna increase the explosion radius by an upgrade, and so on and so forth. So for that, we need to do some calculations, but we're gonna get there. So first off, we need to visualize the shop itself, so everybody knows whenever he's going to purchase some item over here and clicking on a button, then he's going to, or we want to use coins, as well as not just using coins, but we also want to just purchase that and upgrade the manager or the game manager for this. To do so, it might be helpful for us to build an extra separated system, so also the game manager does not really know about how many coins there are going to be. So we're gonna split that stuff maybe a bit up over there. So the game manager can, let's say, store the coins and the score whenever meanwhile the game is playing, so we're gonna update this accordingly. But in the next turn, after we were upgrading, or actually whenever the round has been ended, we're gonna send the information back to, let's say, some kind of a wallet, which is going to take care of how much score we got and do maybe all this conversion. Or we just say, okay, we're gonna give just the coins, whichever have been converted to the actual, let's say, wallet, and so and then we clean up the game manager per this round. So it starts in the next round with 000. So this is going to be the stuff we are going to create for today. I'm gonna use my canvas over here for this, and I want to have a shop's interface, which is going to basically be over the actual game scene or game field, so we cannot touch through or do anything fancy or move a mouse or something similar. We don't want this, so we're gonna make it literally a full screen one. Also, we can, design it anyhow later on. This is something you can do on your own. I just gonna, let's say, I could just create the bare bones of that thing. So I'm gonna start with an image. You can start with a panel or anything else. So this is going to be our shop panel. So we just simply say shop panel. Later on, we just activate and deactivate the panel whenever necessary. So for example, whenever we tell, or maybe we press a button or from a menu, or whenever the game is over, we're gonna show something like, hey, show the shop panel over there, so we can hide it and unhide it. So we need a close button for the shop panel as well, and so on. So I do I just do a uniform stretch over here and tint this one, let's say, black. And I get rid of some alpha, so we can see through, but we cannot touch it, because we make this one a raycast target over here. So we cannot touch through that to touch like any items or anything, maybe buttons and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, the shop system is open. So we also cannot literally touch any other somethings like the text elements and so on and so forth. So with that shop panel, I want to create maybe some kind of let's say, area in which I'm going to put in all the actual items or the actual stuff to upgrade. Like by using some kind of I should say, maybe container scenario or something like that. And also at the very bottom, I'm going to make something like a back button, and which you can press to get back to the actual game or menu or something like that. So in here, I'm not quite sure how I want this, but I believe I'm gonna try that. I just try this out by using maybe a horizontal layout group or something similar to here. So let's start with another image, and this is going to be literally my my shop items grid or something. We can name this literally whatever we want. So this shop items grid is going to be maybe stretched from left to right. We're going to define any kind of a height. Put this maybe in the center. Maybe I don't want to go full height. Let's see if I can. There we go. I can limit this so that this is going to be the maximum size of them items over there. Now maybe I'm gonna try out and see if that works or not. Gonna make a vertical, no, it needs to be horizontal layout group. And in here, we're gonna later on put all our items, you know, so we're gonna see them as a grid. I'm gonna make that in any other color so I can see later on where the items are, how the differences between them items are, and so on and so forth. So on our actual item, we are going to pass in over this item. We want to make a, let's say, group. But we need to have a placeholder for all the content inside this one as well, like the buttons, like the text containing the information, like maybe a bar or something like where we know how much it costs for the next level up and so on. So to do that, I'm gonna create another image right now, and now we see it's basically any kind of something. I'm gonna name it item because I don't know really what I want to name this, and let's assume it's like in this size. What I want to add is a element called a layout element, actually, in which we can say we want to have a flexible height, but let's say a preferred width. So currently we have a width of 403 over here. If we say we want to have it smaller or bigger, then we can always override it by using this layout element. Meaning if I now put a second one in here, or even 3 more, then I can play around with the sizes and stuff like that. So usually I should be able to say, I want to make it in any other height or width or something. So we can now see how that goes over there. So, but what we don't see is that these are not really changing with that because there are literally no prefab or something around that piece. So if I now get rid of this item again here, I can, you know, play around with these numbers. And if I don't go with the preferred width, then I might be able to, you know, set them up anyhow. So we may or may not go and use the child width scale over here, or even the child control size width. So actually what that means is the system, the horizontal layout group, is going to change the size of them items. And we once again can say that our preferred width is probably this one, or maybe 400 or something. So maybe we can override it still later on. So now we can also define in the horizontal layout group the distance, like the spacing. We can maybe put some pixels in between. And again, we can lay this out probably accordingly later on as well. So since we don't change anything inside the layout group, because this is going to stay always on screen, the only thing I might want to go for is like if you go into free aspect as an example, you want to make sure that the items are going to stay where they're supposed to be, like whenever we scale up and down. So as we can tell, this is going to stay in the center. But what we at the same time can see that these items, these text elements, are not going to follow the same rule. So I go to 16:9 once again, take them text fields over here. I deactivate the shop panel for a sec and anchor them texts to the top left corner. So we can go and just do stuff like that. And then we bring it back to where it has been. Same for this one. Hold on Alt, bring this over here, and then bring it down back. So when we now go for free aspect over there, and we're going to change anything, the text is going to stay in the top left corner. So now we can enable shop panel again, horizontal layout group sits there, and it will not change, or hopefully it doesn't go away as we supposed to get it. So again, this preferred width over here, as you have seen, it got overridden automatically. So I make sure I want to have this one as being a 400 again. So it's literally gone over here and evens out literally over the complete size, because every of them, as you can see, now have a width of 368 pixels over there. So we, since it is flexible or preferred over here, and we are overriding this one, we are not able to directly set them up because they are driven as well, driven by the actual setting over there. So with that said, we can now define or design one of them things. If I want to, I can make something like a frame around it or something, but this is once again something everybody can do on its own. So I'm gonna make one of them maybe a bit grayish and maybe also semi-transparent. And the shop grid item, I'm gonna deactivate the actual image component so I don't see this. I could also keep it active and reduce alpha to 0. Basically doesn't matter. So by setting this one to be alpha reduction here as well, we still have some kind of a nice overlay thing and so on. We can make it round corners and all the other good stuff by, for example, picking one of the already existing sprites, like let's say this input field sprite. So we should see that these corners are now rounded. Since there is some kind of a border around it, it may or may not look as expected. But again, graphics and content like that are not supposed to be inside some kind of actual scenario, like a prototype. What I want is now a TextBrush Pro text over there, which is going to be the title of the item. We can center this one out to be here and here, and just bring this over there. So we can also make it auto size if we want to, like so. Now we can say, okay, depending on how broad or how huge that one is going to be, we can set this accordingly. We can also make this one stretch over top, like so, and so it always stays there, depending and independently, literally, like if we go free aspect and it changes or goes down or up and so on and so forth, it tries to stay where it currently is. So going back to a 16:9, so this item is good. Next one is I want to have a purchase button or something around here. So in here, we're going to pass in like the name. I may go and reduce the height over there so it's not like too squeezed together. We're going to be able to do something like which is the current level we currently have. We can show that. Once again, we need a purchase button as well and so on. So let's do that first. So we go in button, TextMesh Pro button, and we're going to be the purchase button. Or you can also name this buy button. So I can say just buy. This can be set once again to anywhere on screen. So we can also anchor this, let's say to the bottom of the screen, like so. And then, lift it up accordingly. We can also resize it to any size we want. Same for the text field inside. We can just literally do auto scale or auto size here. And we can change the color as well. If you don't like the button as is, like the visibility, maybe you want to make it a bit more different than other games, you might want to go and change alpha on this one as well, or tint it into any color. Use your own graphics and so on. Absolutely up to you. So I believe I'm gonna put something like a level image or something, like a text with an image. We can make a circle or whatever. Inside that, we can, make this as beautiful as possible. So we got the title, we got the purchase button. Now we're going to need to create a new UI. I could use just a text, and we can also put an image around it, like a circle, as I said, or any other form of shape. I'm going to go and scale this one up, center this one out. I want to make sure that this one stays at center over here with its, position. And this is going to be just the, let's say, level frame. So we know what is going on. We need a price. This is what we're going to do afterwards. So in here, in this level frame, I'm going to put another UI text, TextMesh Pro. That's going to be the level text. Maybe we want to put some information later on all the other good stuff there as well. Want to make it center, like so and so. And I'm gonna reduce its size, or maybe I'm gonna make it like uniform stretch over the actual image, but size doesn't matter. And now I want to go and take the level frame and just reduce color, or just visualize it the way I want to. Level text could also be resized a bit, so maybe make it a bit bigger until it would, let's say, fit our needs. Now we need to have a price. So wherever we're gonna put, like, we don't know how much we have to pay, right? So each of the levels we are going to purchase this content later on from or to. We want to make maybe a text like where the what the costs are. So we could also put something like a border or anything, or we could also say, okay, we can still invest into something, but we only get the level when we have fulfilled a specific price, let's say. So I'm gonna take the text, or actually the item again, make another UI text mesh pro text. Gonna be able to put this anywhere, like here. I'm gonna center this one out again. Maybe make it a smaller. So we see differences. And so this one is going to be the price text. It's totally up to us how we where we want to place that. We can make it like above, like so. We could also make it below. All of that totally up to you and me again. So, and we can say, okay, this costs, in the first place, it costs like 10 or 100 or 1,000, whatever coins to get this one upgraded. If you are not 100% sure, you can also do something like price, and then, you know, do something like this. This can be done code-wise, so we don't have to fiddle around with all them things. So the higher the price later on, of course, the harder the people have to fight to earn more levels. So, and now we can literally duplicate this complete item over here, and later on just need to connect the buy buttons to the actual shop or wallet or something system, or actually to the shop system itself, which we're gonna create in a bit. So before I do that, just in case I create a prefab out of this setting as it is at the moment. So I go to my prefabs, and I'm gonna need to, I used to create a new folder inside prefabs just for user interface content. So I just name it UI. Now I drag the complete item over here into this hierarchy. Now I get rid of all the other ones here. And this one is now stretched over complete size. So I literally can just say I duplicate this 4 times. And now we are having this one directly and done so far. Also, whenever I do any kind of a change, wherever I want to, like, I need to reposition things, I want to rename a button and so on and so forth, the actual, you know, prefab is going to be updated. Let's assume you want to go for the purchase button and say on the text field, you want to say, no, I don't want to have buy there, but maybe I want to name this one, let's say, upgrade. Like so. But you see all the other ones don't get the upgrade on the button itself, like so. So what we can do, so we can take and select this item 1, go to override and apply it. So all of the other ones now get the same naming convention. So everybody is going to get updated because they are all part of this actual prefab. And that's basically everything we need for the buttons and stuff to be purchased. Now we need to get some script onto this item, which is able to collect information about the item itself, which we probably don't really need to set up, but we need to set up price, level, and of course the clickability on this actual item. And also it needs to have a connection to, let's say, some system, which knows what is that part for, or that shop item for, what is that shop item for, and so on. So let's start with the item itself and connect all the necessary functions over there. So we don't instantiate them, we just set them up and they're done. So to do that, I go to scripts again and create a new C# script, call this one, let's say, shop item. You can name it whatever you please and like, as usual. And I want to wait until the compiler is done running. Once that's happening, I'm gonna select the item itself and drag the shop item on top of it, like over here. So now it's connected. Now we can double click to open this one in MonoDevelop, Visual Studio, whatever IDE you're using. And we can pass in all the necessary data we want and need. So the very first one is we need to have connections to all the TextMesh Pro components. So we're going to say using tmpro. So we have connected to it, and over start, we don't need start and update yet. I believe we never will. So we can say we now need a public text field. Oh, I know it's tmp underscore text. I believe that has to be big T. The compiler is not done running, so I just type it in and it will be set up in a moment. So there we go. So I'm gonna need an item name. Actually, not really, because I want to set the item name later on directly on the item. Probably. Let me just put it in item name. Maybe we need to fill this accordingly by looping through or something. I don't know. Or we just create a scriptable object which is going to read the information, and then we can later on take from them scriptable objects all the information based on, let's say, an item ID or something. So we can always talk to different systems just by passing over ID and then say, hey, is that your ID? Okay, then you need to upgrade this. But we need to see first, so can we purchase this one? So we need to request this, and so on and so forth. So probably I'm gonna put in an ID, not quite sure if we need it. So just an int item ID. That's literally, I can set it by hand. I can also set this by a scriptable object, as I said before, but currently I don't have one. So we keep it as is at the moment. So the next one is going to be the actual text field for the level. So public tmp underscore text is equal to, not equal to, but level text. So we can pass in what's the current level of the upgraded item. Maybe I'm gonna take item ID and put this above, so because it's a private variable. Okay, so when we save that and when we go back, we should get multiple new item texts here. Item name text, and we need the cost, so something like the price text. So public text mesh pro text tmp underscore text. We're gonna name this one what did I said? Price text, something like that. So whenever we read content from somewhere, we can talk to them fields by just talking to this, let's say, this item or shop item over there. So now we can connect them all, and this is a good thing again about prefabs. We just need to do this once. The other ones get updated once we override the component. So item 1 over here now needs to get the item name. For us, it's going to be the title, and the level text is going to be the level text. Then we get the price text, which is going to be this one. So just need to connect them. And now we once again go to override and apply all. So all of the other items, like item 2 and so on, now got their own connection to the corresponding item and their text fields. Now the next one is we want to create an item system which is going to be rather solid. So we can also manipulate it directly inside the inspector if we want to. Like, for example, a list of whatever. Like I would just start with a scriptable object just for any type of an item, let's say, or an item itself. So currently we got the shop item, which is just showing us the content, but then we need something behind it, which is going to be connected to it. And since we do this by hand, like we just, drag it in, we need to have a script for that. So maybe I can name this one upgrade, since that's what it is, an upgrade. We're gonna open this one. We don't need start and update. We don't even need mono behavior. So I get rid of them. Instead of mono behavior, we are using another class. Or actually something called a scriptable object. And to create one, we need to say create asset menu. Then we pass in something like a file name. In quotes, we can say new upgrade. And then we can, if we want to, also put in a menu. So menu name. which is going to be like a folder structure or something. So we can say, I don't know, Missle command, and then we can say shop. Or we can also do shop slash item or upgrade, basically upgrade. So if we have later on multiple things in our scene, we know, okay, this is something where it's maybe supposed to be, and then upgrade is going to be like a subfolder structure. If we don't want to do this, we can also get rid of the slash shop thing, and we just have a new upgrade literally to be created. We're going to see in a moment how that looks. So the scriptable object needs a bunch of public variables over here. So the first one is going to be the item name. So the first one is going to be of type string, since that's what it is about. Item name. We're gonna have another one. It's going to be an int of whatever the actual level is. Maybe we don't really do this per like, you know, maybe we don't do this like a public one, since we're gonna automate that. And later on, we also we need to take care of about the costs and cost calculation per item and so on and so forth. So literally we take a level. Let's say we're gonna start at level 1, multiply that by whatever multiplier to increase price, let's say over runtime, or multiply this by any other multiplier, and so on and so forth. All of that is totally up to us. We can also hard code a kind of list which contains like all the fixed numbers, the fixed costs. So speaking of costs, we want to go for a current price, which we want to fill in, you know, automatically. And if we want to now, we can create an array or a list of some things. Once again, could be a fixed price, could be like a fixed list of contents, like a price per level, for example. So it can be a list, can be an array. Basically, it doesn't really matter. But when we got a array, we cannot, you know, dynamically change it, which we don't need actually, because that's going to be like a fixed item price or fixed item thingy. So I'm gonna use an array of int, and we can name this just price list. Oh, and of course it has to be a public one. So now we can add like 10 different ones if we want to. I'm not quite sure if we need to say something like new, and maybe we need to define, no int. Or maybe we need to define something like a length. If we want to, basically, we could also pass in some parameters in here, I guess, which means we can now put in 10 numbers for the purchase prices. So we can do calculations on that to get an exponential growth, or we just fill in by hand. For example, the first one can cost 10. Then the next one can cost like 100. Then we're gonna have a 400. Then we're gonna have I don't know, 800, 1,000, I don't know, 300, and so on and so forth. So we can, once again, you can go and calculate this on your own by using exponential functions. You can also use a linear growth, all of that totally up to you. Maybe gonna be 1,900, 2,500, 3,800, and so on, until we reach 10 items in this list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4,500, 9, and 5,000 is maybe that's the most expensive one over here. So now you have seen all of these errors are gone, because now we have a total of 100 things in here. If we start at level 1, literally, probably we're gonna go for and start at level 0. So the first level would cost 10 over here. Otherwise, we might need to convert all these numbers into levels, because this last index is not index 10, like level 10. The index is 9. Since we are starting at an index of 0 over here. So now we can store that, and every new item or new upgrade we are going to start with is literally having the same prices. So we don't need to go over and cover this one later on. Again, you can use any kind of a fixed multiplier by whatever. So 10 times something divided by something can be any price over there. So we get some exponential growth and so on and so forth. So what else do we need? Let me pretty quickly check. We need some function, which is going to give us the possibility to buy any kind of an item based on whatever is coming in. So we literally from our shop item, just whenever we press a button, we just call scriptable object dot and then the function. So since it is going to be connected to our button later on. So we could also do some virtual voids and stuff like that, but it's not necessary at this point. So in here we just can say purchase item. Later on we just need to remember what we just wanted to do. And this is basically once again called from shop item. In shop item, we now need another public field, which is going to be the actual upgrade. So we're going to pass an upgrade. And then we just say upgrade. I don't know. Okay, so now we just need to drag that in. Now we need the button to be able to press on the shop item, which is calling upgrade.purchase stuff. So public void is going to be our buy button, which is going to later on press this one, or we're going to be able to press that one. So public void buy item. Actually, it's going to be more like a try to buy item because we don't know if we have enough money to purchase this one. Try to buy item, I don't know. So, but all this try to buy item can also be directly done inside this upgrade itself. So now we can just talk to upgrade. Yep. And then we can say we want to purchase an item. And so everything later on will be updated whenever we are, let's say, able to. This is actually wrong here. When we want to purchase this one, we call the function in here, and in here we do all the mathematics, all the settings, and also tell everybody, like as an example, we need to tell the wallet, hey, we need to pay this. We need to tell the game manager, hey, your new level for this upgradable item over there is going to be this and that. We could also create a read function where the game manager maybe knows about all these upgrades. There's one thing we don't want to do in the scriptable object. We want to set this one up here, but what we don't want is we don't want to change it. We don't want to change the actual level here. We want to set this or do this with these level things somewhere else. So we need a system which is going to store all this information. Maybe we're going to pass in, that's what I said before, also a public int, let's say item ID here as well, item ID. So we can later on say, okay, this is number 1 in the list, number 2, number 3, number 4, and then based on whatever this ID, which level it currently has. So maybe we delete this later. We could also use them as like a safe object, like one scriptable object is going to store all this information about the game state, which is also like a, let's say, advanced technique we can use over here. So we override any kind of like a scriptable object, we can override it, and then we can later on read from it. So it's going to be like a data holder for our save file. So we don't need to make a binary format or stuff, yada yada yada. Later on, we just need to say, hey, what is the where's my object, my scriptable object to store information into, and then we just read from that scriptable object. Since usually it is like so that whenever we override a scriptable object, it stays as it is. That means even in runtime, even when we play a game, if we write something into the scriptable object, the next time it's going to keep the values. So that's how we can probably also make a super simple save game state, which is just a scriptable object and nobody can really directly access it except our, let's say, shop system, for example. For that, we could go later on and create some, some other object of type scriptable object, like a save file object or something, in which we're gonna put like all our items, like all our item names, our IDs, and so on and so forth, maybe literally like a class, and then a list of these 4 upgradable classes, which we can just read in and write in, and so on and so forth, and just talk to them by using the item ID, like a list of content. So, and we can also create this save file at any time we want. We can also prepare it already with all the necessary contents, but the first time, since everybody may have a different item name, needs to be upgraded accordingly or updated accordingly and filled inside this, inside this list. So, enough talk about the scriptable objects and stuff like that. We want to try to purchase an item, and this is going to be the button which is able to press that thing. Now we need another system which is keeping track, like our wallet or wallet system, which keeps track of how much money do we really got. Speaking of that, we can also use the scriptable object as being our wallet, and so we can always, write into it, but also use that probably as a save file. Let's try that out and see if that works. So first off, we're gonna create like our 4 upgrades over here, because we also need to read the content whenever we open the script here. We need to read or update the contents inside them text fields, the price. We need to read it from the scriptable object later on. So in our upgrade, we now have the possibility to drag in, drag in an upgrade. But how do we create one is rather simple. I guess I make a new folder first about our shop. So everything about the shop is going to land into that. So I'm gonna put my upgrade script in there and my shop system. Well, if it lets me. Let's see if that worked. Gonna double click and check in. Gonna wait a sec. So now we got the actual shop item. I didn't want it to open new. So we got the shop item and we got the upgrade itself. So now we can create our own upgrades. So we go here, shop, upgrade. Now we can create a new upgrade. So for example, reload speed. We can name this whatever we want. We just need to make sure that this name here is going to be the same as this one. Or no, we don't have to, but we want to name it so however or whatever we want to see on screen, whatever this upgrade is about. We start at level 1. Once again, we may go and get rid of that one. Current price is automatically set, and the item ID might be 0 or 1, depending on that. And here we got our array, which is pre-filled or preset automatically. Now I'm going to create another one. Can just duplicate this one. This is going to be maybe a fly speed or fly speed. Or just a simple speed, because the speed is going to be, maybe name this one just speed. And I'm gonna rename this one to be reload. Or maybe also reload. Like this. So we got a reload, a speed. We don't need to touch anything else. Then we maybe need a range. So the range is going to be about how far the explosion range is going to be. We can also every time go and pass in a description field anywhere on each of them items to explain what the range is going to be about, so we can increase the explosion range. What else? What could be the last item? Range, reload, speed. Let's take a look into the game manager pretty quick and see what else we got. We could go for score and coin multipliers. Actually, I should delay, which is going to be the reload. The radius is going to be the explosion radius. I named it range. Let me name it radius. Radius. And same here, radius. As long as we know what it is about, everything is good to go. So we got the delay, we got the radius. I don't know what we can also implement yet. I don't know what these are going to be doing here. Looks strange. I don't know what we could put into the fourth field. What did I miss? So we got a fly speed, a reload speed, explosion radius. We don't need a strength or something since the damage is always 1. I don't know. Let's see if I find some image. Oh, we could make something like a rebuild. Like, if we have lost like a tower or something, like a defender or a building, maybe we want to make it so that it is able to be rebuilt. We could also go for power, but power once again is more like range over there. So I guess I'm gonna go for a rebuild. I just rename this one here to rebuild. Costs are going to be the same, so gonna make it here rebuild. So we got now the radius, the rebuild, the reload, and the speed. Again, description can be passed in at any time over here. So, since we got this, we now need a wallet. And I would just create a new C# script and call this one wallet. A wallet is basically just holding our coins. And we could also use this as a safe state if we want to. So we can extend wallet to be anything, right? So wallet is going to be somewhere, maybe on a game manager, maybe on its own object, doesn't really matter. As long as it is in the scene and we have a kind of full access to it over some kind of a mechanic. For example, through the actual shop system. So in here we just got shop items, but the shop system might have a connection to our wallet. So we can easier access this one later on from outside. And this is the thing we want to update and so on accordingly. So I'm going to make this one also a scriptable object. It hasn't been loaded yet, so I need to wait a second. There we go. So scriptable object. And in this, we want to have also some kind of a system to create this. So we're going to create a new, create an asset menu. We just need one wallet, of course. So we only want to store one thing, basically multiple things, but in one file. So this is going to be a new wallet. This is basically how you can also create item databases and all the other good stuff. So each thing gets its own thing and we can store content accordingly. So menu name is equal to, and we can also put this into the shop, make a slash, and then we're gonna say we need a wallet. So don't forget to save. So our wallet just needs some indicators or some connections over there. We could use a public static one, like a static connection to the wallet's, how should I say, to the wallet's coins. So we don't really, we wouldn't even, I believe so, we wouldn't even need to have this object inside the scene. But I want to let it drive over the shop system so we have full access and full control if we need to. So we're going to say public, what is it? It's a type int, coins in wallet. The good thing about something like that is if you want to restore a content, or if you want to say you're going to have a diamond system or like a cash shop item system behind this, you can also store all this cash you have purchased before in that and can, for example, keep track of what have been purchased in some kind of a list. So if somebody wants to, let's say, return back to somewhere, we're going to keep the content inside the scriptable object. So this is the coins in wallet. I would only flush coins into the wallet whenever it is necessary, like whenever the game you know, one round is over, we're gonna flush the content. We're gonna do the calculation in the coins and just pass in the coins into the wallet. To do so, we may or may not, maybe we don't want this to be a public accessor here, but maybe we're gonna create some, let's say, kind of public function for that. So public void add coins. We want to also have another one to use coins. So we want to add coins. We say coins in wallet plus equal what? Plus equal this incoming amount over here. So we can add coins at any time, but we don't really have direct access to this over here. If you want to, you can make this a serialized field to check what's going on. I want to be able to use coins. So we say minus equal. And I want to have another one, which is probably going to be the most important one, is we want to read the amount. We want to read how much coins are going to be inside. But we don't need anything over here, but we need to return the integer about the coins in the wallet. So we just say we return the coins in wallet. We could also say a comparison parameter, like sending back a boolean. For example, we can say if that is purchasable, like putting add coin or use coins into a boolean function, we could say, okay, we only reduce it if it is possible. At the same time, we could also return a true or false, something like can be purchased or even not. So we have multiple possibilities to do that. We can also, once again, read just the coins outside of the wallet before we manipulate them by the shop system itself and see if we are actually able to do one of them things, one of them purchases or something. So again, in the wallet, we can later on also keep track of a list of all the items we have ever purchased. Basically, we might need to create a new class for each of them items. And we could, if we want to, also introduce that class directly inside that. Or what we can also do is we can keep a list of upgrades. No, we can't. Sadly not, because we would change the actual upgrades over there. Alternatively, we could change the upgrades themselves to whatever we think they're going to be needed to, but that's something we may or may not check out later on. Okay, so last thing we're gonna do, I guess, for the shop system is we need a management system to get all the information of who's going to buy what and where and so on and so forth, and we're gonna check all the content. Can we purchase this? Yes or no? How much money do we got in the wallet? And we need to connect the wallet to the shop system as well as all the possible items to be talked to. And then we can just, look through and see which one is at what state, literally. But we need to connect this anyhow different, basically to the wallet. And we just need to say, okay, what is the current level? So that's what I say. We need to get rid of the shop items. No, not of the shop items, but of the upgrade itself level, because this is going to be stored somewhere else. I'm gonna get rid of it. So for the moment, we just need the current price, which basically also doesn't really make sense, except we are requesting it for a certain level. So we need to spit back later on to our user interface some information. So we're gonna request like what's the name of the item, what's the current price of the item based on some level input, and what's the current item ID if needed. So yeah, basically that's what we need some functions in here later on as well. So let's create the shop, since I believe that's going to be one of the other interesting pieces over there, which is keeping track of all the possible items to be purchased, as well as the current wallet and all the other stuff. So now we got the wallet in here, so we can just create it, my wallet. And so as you can see, there's nothing inside. This is just an empty game object, but we are able to pass in data and it keeps track of that. So if we add something to it, we should be able to see it. What we could also do is, as I said before, we might go and make this, at least for testing purposes, a serialized field so we can even see the current coins in the wallet, and we could manipulate them if necessary. Whenever it comes to a release, we just need to make sure that we change this back to 0 so nobody is able to, trick and treat. Or we're gonna give some coins extra. Also, when you go over later on for in-app purchases, or for, let's say, ads, like when somebody wants, I don't know, wants to get double coins after a round, he can watch an ad, and then we can also talk to the wallet and update it accordingly. So we can connect that and see if that works or not. And once again, we can also keep track of the rewards and stuff like that if needed, but usually it's not. So for the shop itself, I'm going to create another C# script. I just name it shop or shop system, since basically it's some kind of a system on its own. And I'm going to create a new empty object here to be our shop manager. So just right click, create new. Gonna make something like this, shop system or shop manager, or just shop. Just make sure you see what it is about. And we're gonna connect the shop system to it and double click to open. Now what we want is each of them items needs to be connected to the shop system, as well as the wallet has to be connected. So first we need the wallet. My wallet. So basically this is also, so it's the money save plus save game, literally. That's what I would use it for. Oh, not multiplied, but we wanna do both, so nobody has direct access to it except one object, which is going to be our shop system. If we would go for static members, we wouldn't even need to do any change to the wallet over there. So what do we need? If we want to purchase something, we need to tell the shop system, hey, I'm here, I want to purchase this item. So literally on this upgrade, we're gonna be able to talk to the upgrade, of course. But first off, we need to know what's the current price, what's the current item name, and so on. So in our shop system might need a connection, like a list of objects, like in hierarchy or something, to upgrade, like whenever this enables itself, that it reads all the content from the upgrade list. So maybe I'm gonna make a public list of upgrades. Could be also an array, doesn't really matter. So we're gonna say upgrade list. So we have all the upgrades on one spot, and we can loop through and fill the corresponding fields and so on. Same thing as we could do with the shop items. So each of them shop items also need to be, in the same iteration. So we need to have a new list of upgrade. Boom. Next one is going to be public list. It has to be the same size later on, so we don't have any problems of type shop item. So it's going to be our item list. Basically, it's a shop item list. Shop item list equal to new shop item list, open close parentheses, close the line with a semicolon. So from left to right on our screen, we should be able to populate now all the shop items inside over here and should have all the connections to the text fields, and we should be able to upgrade them accordingly. So for example, we are able to pass in a text, pass in a level, pass in a price, and of course pass in an upgrade if needed. We don't really need the upgrade, I guess, so probably it's easier for us not to have an upgrade list here, but just a shop list, because they contain the upgrades on their own anyways. I wonder if we are going to upgrade the items here whenever and like whenever the game starts. To its own, or on its own. The only thing we need to do different is whenever its price changes and the level changes, that we have an update possibility for that 2 items as well. So there are a bunch of possibilities, as you now can tell. So we can from here just say, we loop through each of them shop items and say, hey, you have purchased something, please update your price, please update your text. To do that, we need a public void update text, update, let's say infos. This is going to, it doesn't need any information because, well, we need to pick it later on from the upgrade list based on the current level. And the current level, once again, is going to be stored maybe inside the wallet. So we don't intersect anywhere. And the shop item just knows, okay, I have an upgrade. I know there's a specific list of prices. And then I just take my current level and I read from this upgrade itself. So we can upgrade any infos from the shop system whenever we loop through, hey, there has been one specific purchase on this one particular item. So please update this one accordingly. And to do that, we need to pass in, let's say, an ID and find it in the list and then update only this one single item. So we don't need to, even if we could also update all of the purchases at once. So all of that totally up to us. So in the shop system, we need to have multiple other things. We need to have a public void purchase item. So now the question, let me just name it purchase. So when we press on the buy button on our shop item, there is this buy button, and we want to say we want to purchase this item. We maybe don't want to do this from upgrade. Maybe we want to do this over the shop system. So we don't have a direct connection to that. But the thing is, we now need to talk to the shop system, which should be separated and an object on its own, which we got already. So we first off make it a public static shop system instance. And of course, when we start with that, we're going to call the awake function first and make sure that this one is going to be called, to be set to be a single in the instance, usually called a single. So we say instance is equal to this, like so. So on awake, we call that, we just say, okay, we initialize this one, and now we are able to access it from any point in the game whenever we are clicking on a upgrade button, something scenario. I'm gonna go and just comment this one out just for a second. Since we literally don't want to do the purchase directly in here, we just want to read content. Like we want to get back, maybe the price. We're gonna get back the ID or something like that. Or we just say, hey, for this item ID we are currently requesting. Not even that is necessary. We just need to take a look and pass over a level and see what is the current price for our item, and then we can do continue. Since nobody knows about everybody else, right? So from the shop item, we can now go and say shop system.instance. And now we can say we want to purchase an item, or we just want to purchase, which is going to come from the button. And the button is now going to be the one which needs to have an ID, and the upgrade has an item ID as well. So what we're going to pass over here by this one is the connected upgrade item ID. So in purchase, we want to pass in item ID in this purchase. And in shop item, we want to say just upgrade.item ID. So we pass in the ID we just gave it maybe before. Like if it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, or any ID, basically it doesn't matter. So whenever we do a purchase, our shop system now needs to understand, which is my item now in this shop list to do this purchase. That's the first thing. Then we need to grab from the upgrade back, literally. From here, we need to grab the price. What we could also do is we could pass over the price, but we don't know the level. The level is only be stored inside the wallet. Once we do the purchase, the wallet has to be getting upgraded by that. So that's, I know it's a bit weird. It's going to be a bit like crossover from one to another point, but that is the most easy way, I would say, to set them accordingly. If you want to, you can also use something called delegates and something like that, but I just don't go over and do so. So we're gonna be able to now purchase an item by using this item ID. So we now need to find the shop item with this item ID. Shop item also has an item ID. So maybe at start or at awake at every time over here we're gonna get and set item ID from upgrade directly, or we just don't use it. Question, do we use it or do we not? Because we are literally reading it directly from here, from the upgrade itself. No idea. Okay, we need, well, that's the thing. We need the ID, we need the wallet, and we need to know what's the current stage of the wallet. So in the wallet, we just want to know which item has which level, or basically which item ID has which level. So there are like pairs of contents literally to be stored somewhere. We could create a list or an array for that as well, so we know exactly which item ID has that. And to do so, we can just create a super simple class. And I believe we're going to use a list instead of an array, so we can create multiple on them. And at the very beginning, we could also, let's say we initialize the wallet later on. So I would create just a small class. So public, static, actually just a public class, and name it level. So this level needs an item ID, so int ID needs to be public, I guess. Well, probably not. And we need a public int, well, the actual level. Now we can create a list of type level. I'll call this one level list. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Is equal to new list level, open close parentheses, close the line with the semicolon. At start, we're going to be able to, pass in every content necessary into the wallet. So whenever the shop system the first time starts, literally, and this list is basically empty. What we could also do is we can make the actual level class here to be a serialized a system dot serializable. So we can see level over there, and we can make a public list of something, and we can set this up by hand. If that is really a good idea, I don't know, but maybe we want to make this one a serialized field, just in case. Oh, there's one square brackets too much. So let's save and see what the wallet is looking like pretty quick. So if we see all the possible shop items with them IDs and with them current levels. So where's the wallet? Yep. So we see now a level list, and we can now say we're going to put like 4 elements in total into this one. So we can now fill in all the IDs we want. We can start with anyone. So let's just fill in all of that. We have a total shop items of 4. Once again, we can also automate this. Basically, it doesn't really matter. So what we can pass in is any ID. We can say 1, 2, 3, and 4. And each of them is going to start at level 1 or 0. Let's do 0. So we're gonna keep them as they are. So we don't have any coins in the wallet, which is fine. And so now the wallet in its base is going to be set up, I guess. So now whenever we want to update this one, we can always go through this list again, check for the ID, and set or read the level accordingly based on the ID we are requesting. So in that case, we want to return this one. So we want to know what the ID of one specific item has first. So we need to pass that in. We say read level of item ID, something like that. And basically what we want to know is the exact level. So we're gonna pass over an integer. What we want to return here is going to be inside level list. So let's see if I get the lambda correct here. So we want to find in our level list, we want to find some item with a specific match. So we can literally find an item with this ID, whichever we are going to pass over. So we're going to say int underscore ID. So I want to find, I can name this item like this. If item dot ID is equal to underscore ID. Is that correct? No, I believe it has to be this. Wallet.level is not implicit. I cannot be converted into do we need to say level? No. We want to return the level. We don't want to return the ID, so we probably need to say item. Let's see if I need to do something like int level equals like this dot level. I guess that should be correct. So we want to find an item which contains an item with the item ID, which is the same as this ID, and based on that we want to drag or get the actual level. So instead of using an int, we can now go and return this. Let's try. We don't need this. So now we can return it, and we can at any time, just by calling it, passing over any ID, we automatically find an item inside our list to pass back the level we want to know from the wallet. So we're just reading just this simple class. Pretty good. With that done, we now every time know which word it is. What we also want to do is we want to be able to set an actual level to be increased. Like whenever we are using a coin, we are not really just using a coin, we also want to update the actual level of that if we have done a purchase, right? So let me set this one up as well. So it's basically the same thing, but it's of type void. So we want to set a level, set level by item ID. Because we literally done a purchase, so we can say int underscore ID. That's what we need. And now what we want to say is we first off want to find the item, or the actual level class item of the current ID. So let's see. Literally, it's going to be the same thing. Can we just do this? just increase the level by 1 by passing over in the increase by 1 operator. So we find the item, set the level to be once more after calling the set level by ID item. That looks correct code-wise. So let's save that. So this here should happen. Oh, should happen after purchase. And this read level of item should just be on request. Request by item. By shop, actually. Maybe we can combine things to read coins as well, but the downside is we cannot pass back two values at the same time. So something like the coins over there. So we first off read the level, then we're gonna have to check in the upgrade what is the current cost, and then we see if we're gonna find enough money inside the wallet. So it's a bit, in a triangle movement, but that's fine. And if that is the case, we come back. Since we still have the information, then we set the level by item ID to be +1 and reduce or use coins at the same time, literally. That's the idea behind it. So once again, it could be totally wrong over here, but I don't think so. So whenever we want to do now a purchase, we want to first off go into this and see what the current cost by the wallet's income is, or the wallet set. So let's see. We're gonna get from this one is called from where? That's just now the question. Where do we call this purchase from? I believe we call this from here. Okay, so I make a note. Called from shop item button, literally. From shop, let me name it shop item because it's not directly the button. The button calls a function on the shop item, yes, like try by item, but it doesn't, it doesn't make sense to say button here as well. Otherwise, I would think this is going to be, or maybe the system would think that, or me would, or somebody who's going to purchase this package later on, which will be hopefully soon, available on my website whenever it's done, of course, and completed. From this shop item, I want to be, this is going to be the buy button, and this one here is from the shop item, so we don't confuse ourselves. So we're going to make like notifications everywhere we can if necessary. So now we purchase. So first off, we want to see, is that possible? So what informations do we need? We need to first off need to know inside the wallet, which we can directly access over here from the shop system. And of course, from the shop item list. What do we need from this item list? At the moment, we don't need any. Good question. Currently, I'm not. I don't know if we need the shop item list actually, because each item can talk to the shop system as long as connected. I don't know. Let me get rid of that at least for the moment. Oh, we need this to upgrade all the text fields, of course. That's why we need it. So we pass back information based on item ID as well and update the text, the price, and so on and so forth whenever we do the actual purchase. Okay, that makes sense now. So if now we need to read the actual level, and we need to compare the level with the wallet's current coin pool. So if my wallet, now we want to read the level of the item. And now what? What do we want to know? Now let's start with the price. If my wallet.coins, read coins, is bigger or equal. So we need more or what level amount, or maybe not level amount, but coins amount. We need this inside the wallet. If that is bigger than what? Now we need to go and get this from the shop item. List ID based on. Okay, we need to do multiple things. We need an integer for the level of the requested item. Level of item. I just catch them here first. So my wallet dot read the level of item ID. And if we want to, we could even catch for a second the amount of our coins inside, or maybe it's even easier to do that. So why do we need the level of item right now? Because you need to go into the shop system or the shop item list upgrade. Maybe we can anyhow do this a bit better. So maybe the shop item only has an ID. And the shop system knows everything about the upgrades, then the shop items don't need the connection to the upgrade. Maybe that's even better. So shop item just gets an item ID over here. We're gonna make this public. Item ID. I just need to make sure that all of the item IDs later on are going to match correctly. Instead of using this one to the shop item, we could also pass in a shop item ID over there because it's sitting on a button. But maybe we are better to do a pass in everything inside the upgrade list here. So I don't need to now go back to the shops list and see which one is my my upgrade ID and so on. So in upgrade, we want to now read the cost of the current item based on the actual level. So public int, we want to return an int because it's part of the price list, get price, and or read price, and we need to pass in the current level. To return that, we're going to be able to now say, okay, if the level is actually, we need to make sure that we don't have an override later on, like if the level is too high or something, that we don't get an argument out of range exception. We may need to cap this one later on as well. So if it is like the last level, meaning if level is smaller 10, you know, something like that, then we're gonna go and return our price list in square brackets level. Oh, so if any item has a different something, oh, it doesn't let me do this. Shall I go and pass in something? Because no, not all code passes now return some result. Maybe I'm gonna do this a bit different. If incoming level is bigger 9, what could we do? What could we return actually? We could return 0. Return because it's an integer. And so if a price is 0, we can later on also fiddle around with that. So now we can read the price from the upgrade. And here we just need to say, okay, first off, we need to find the upgrade item. So again, we need to say upgrade list because we don't know in which order they are. Maybe they are different. We want to find an object of type well, item, we can name this literally whatever we want. We're going to make the lambda expression here again. So we say we are searching for an item which has an item ID which is equal to our item ID. We're going to pass in item ID over here. And once we got this, we want to read the price from that. And we just in case pass in the level of item we just got before. Does that make sense? Maybe I should put this bigger or equal. Cannot be used on an integer. What type is it? It returns an int. We return price. List of level of type integer, single item. That's pretty strange. Okay, let me catch the price. So int current price is equal to, and now we're gonna put this in here, and let's see if I can at least read it for the moment. That's good. That's happening. That's working. I don't know what the issue is. So if the current read coins, oh, I believe that's because this has been missed with the current price. So if that is the case, if we have enough, then we want to do the actual purchase. So how do we do this now? We want to use coins, and we want to upgrade the level and upgrade the shop's item. Like the corresponding item inside our scene, right? So all the text elements get updated. So we got a new price, we got a new level, set it up, and so on. So again, we got level of item, we got the item ID, we get the current price. So what do we want to do now? We want to talk to my wallet. So we want to actually use coins. And we need to tell how much do we need. It's basically the current price. Good that we just got it over here, so we can now reuse the same thing. We got the current price, so we use it. Then we need to talk to my wallet. And need to update the actual level of the item. So we need to set the level item there. So my wallet dot set level by item. And now we need to pass in the item ID we are asking for. And let's see, this is going to increase it just by 1. So it's updating it accordingly and stores it inside the scriptable object. Now we need to update the UI. So here we just pay and update this in the save file, but now we also need to visualize that accordingly to the shop item list to read the actual contents. I'm gonna save this for a sec and go to shop item and see what we got. Okay, so we need to update multiple infos probably, since we have no connection anymore to the upgrade list, but the item just needs to know the things, let's say. So we need to pass over 2 things. The item name is still the same, but we need to pass in the level text or the current level based on the item ID we set at the price. So we're going to pass in the integer for the level. We can also convert it to a string, but we have to do it anyways. Int level, and then we're gonna have to do int price. Like literally, this is going to be the new price and the new level, right? At start, we can basically update this accordingly. Whenever we start the game new, we can read it from my wallet, and the rest is going to be done by the upgrade But no, the wallet, we need to do this from the shop system since there are all the informations. Maybe I'm gonna make another one just in case, just to prepare it already, which is also passing over the item name. So whenever we start a new game or new level, we can read this contents. So string item name, then int level. So you can see we can use the same function name at the same time, but having multiple different, let's say, arguments to pass in. So until then, this is going to work. Otherwise, it's not. So that needs to have different arguments. We could even go for an empty one and just update it to whatever we need or please and like. So how do we update the infos right now? Well, we're gonna pass in. We're gonna say level text dot text is equal to new level dot to string. So we just convert it to a string. And same for the new price. So what is it called? Price text, copy. Dot text is equal to new price dot to string. So we once again convert it to a string. Nice. We gotta copy this one because we can reuse it here. And now we just need to have the item name text. Text is equal to item name. So we don't need to convert it to a string because it's already coming in S. So this is literally the initial call at start of game. So we just need to do this. Literally, we just need to do this once when the game starts. We're gonna do this from the shop system. We could also do this and populate this whenever the shop system gets opened, if necessary, anyhow. But we'll see that later on. So this one here is going to be updated from shop after purchase. Purchase. Save. And in shop system, we now need to call this function on each of them single items. Or actually on this one specific item. So on this one shop item here, which contains whichever item ID. Maybe I'm gonna make this one a serialized field. So we can see it, but we literally don't have much access to it from outside, only from inside. So with that, we could also go for and read it if needed. If we don't make it readable, we might not be able to find it. Item. Okay, so when this is a private one, we are not able to compare by using a list search or something. So we need to, I believe so, we need to keep this one as a public one. So once again, we could also use a delegate system for that to set it up as being a listener, yada, yada, yada. So now I know this. What I now need to do is I need to talk to and update the corresponding updated item. So what do we need to do? We need to find the index in the shop item list with our actual item ID. So we want to find the item with item dot item ID, this one, and once we found it, no, it needs to be equal to our item ID, or the one we are just trying to upgrade, dot, and now we want to call update infos. There's only one accessible. No, yeah, of course, because we got like two possibilities right now. We got the one in which we pass in the new level and the new price. We got the second one, which also gets a string name. So everything correct. So what we want to pass over is the actual. We need the new price. So the current price is not of interest. We need to go and use or get the next price and the next level. Who knows about that info? The only one who knows about it is the wallet. Does the wallet know? It knows just the level by ID. So after it gets updated by using this one, we might need to go and recall this, or we just take the last item and increase it just by 1. So we can just say level of item. Somehow I don't like where's the big L here. So we're gonna take a level of item plus 1 and the new price. Since we know the level of item, we need to go into the upgrade list pretty quick again, I guess, and read the new price, I guess. So let's do this here. Next price is equal to maybe we can even catch that item so we don't have to do multiple things over there. Copy. Next price is going to be the same thing, level of item, but we're gonna increase it by 1. So the last one should be then pass out as 0. So we are unable to do anything of that updates anymore, hopefully. So in here, we're gonna pass in now the next price. So if our current level is 0, we're gonna get the current price. And the next price is going to be, that could be an issue. Because our index element is going to start at 0 instead of 1. So the current price level of item. We might be able to do this a bit different, or we might have to do this a bit different. Maybe we need to grab it just here once again, then the current price after doing an upgrade. So we're gonna use the level of item first and read it, or just read it from here and then read the price depending on the level of the item. Just again. Let's try that. Probably that is the wrong one. We'll see. Because basically, we can literally take the same, maybe after upgrading it. After upgrading it, we might want to go and read the new one. So, the new price. So instead of using this, and this, after it has been upgraded, we just read, we just read the next one of the current item ID inside that, because over here we have set it, we updated it accordingly, and based on the level of the now updated item, we should be able to show this inside the UI. Now, final thing is, I believe, we want to update the complete shop list at the very beginning. So we're going to call void start. We don't do this in awake, we do this in start, because on awake we just instantiate or set all the instances of objects, so we don't get any mistakes over there. We want to loop through all of them items and set all the corresponding items and item IDs over there. So we're going to create a new for loop. We could also use a for each probably, since the content of the for loop is not going to change. So I'm going to create that. The item is going to be, a shop item. So for each shop item, why doesn't it give it to me? Okay, let's be it var. It's going to be an item inside our shop item list. So var over here is going to be a shop item. As you can see, it is relative to that. So let me name it shop item just in case. So for each shop item in the list, so in total are 4, we want to do what? We want to update. So we're going to say item.use update info. That's what I mean. And now we're going to use the second version over here. We need to update the actual item name, which we need to read now from the upgrade list. And this is an issue again. So we cannot use a for each loop, sadly. Otherwise, we would need to always grab the ID. So let's use a for loop. Gonna get rid of the for each here. So basically, we are going to loops row shop item list dot count. That's nothing bad on for loops. They are rather quick, but probably quicker than for each loops. So now we need to do the call a bit different here, of course. So we say shop item list in square brackets I, which is going to be the indicator for that. And then we update the infos over there. And now what we want to do, update the content from or to, is, well, the name. We want to get the name from the upgrade list. So we can say upgrade list in square brackets I dot item name. So this is going to be the first information. Then we need to know what's the actual level. So let me rename this shop item. This one here is not the new level. It's literally the current level. Current level. Copy and paste. So this is the current level. Save. The current level is, well, what's the current level? The current level is only known by the wallet. So we need to request by shop item ID, what's the current level of the current loop through item. We can do literally the same thing by getting the shop item list ID over there. So let me, per iteration, we need to do this. So we want to know the level of the item, which is going to be, we want to read it from the shop list item I dot item ID. So now we know this, and we can pass this over. So we say level of item over here. And now the last thing is the new price, or actually, literally, it's going to be the current price. So I rename this here as well, current price. And the current price is basically the same thing as we just do here. Just gonna copy this one pretty quick. Pass over. So the current price is, we need to go through that, and we need to read item ID needs to be this one over there, shop item ID with the square brackets I dot item ID. Now we want to read the price of the current level of item. Now we can pass that over and say current price. Save. Maybe the levels are going to be set wrong or not seen correctly, but I believe that's going to be something we're gonna see later. Just had a typo over there after naming. Let's set the thing up and see if it works. I know it's a bit content over here, but once again, if you don't want to struggle with all of that content, whenever this prototype is going to be done and running and up and, working, I'm going to put this down onto my website. So I'm going to pass over later on the link to all of them sessions over here. So you can go and save time by purchasing the correct or the content without you need to do any of them learnings. Now I'm going to have to fill all the wallets and all that stuff. So let's pass in the wallet. We got the shop system here. We need to have all the upgrades in the list so we can order them by their IDs as an example. So we got in wallet, we got ID 1, 2, 3, 4. Radius doesn't have one, so we're gonna say radius is the first, rebuild is the second, reload is going to be the third, and speed the force. So we're going to have ID 1, 2, 3, 4, and each of them items now has 1, 2, 3, and 4. We don't even need the current price since that is going to be set at the wallet as well. What we could also do is we can read it every time from there. Maybe we're going to save some readability or read spot over there. In shop system, I'm going to pass in now all the upgrades in order. Well, basically order doesn't matter since we got the IDs. So I'm going to put in radius, build or rebuild, reload, and speed. Need to make sure that all of them are different. None of them is doubled. And we need to have all the shop items in here. So I can lock the selection and take all. So all of them are containing shop item. Okay. Don't forget to save the scene. Shop system looks good so far. Now we need to fill out all the button presses, like on the button purchases. Like whenever we try to purchase something, we want to go and have them on-click events over there and talk to, well, to try to buy an item on its own. So we're going to go to shop item and try to buy the item. And as you can see, it's bold. So we could just need to go and select the item, overrides, apply all. So each of them is now connected. So this one now should have on its purchase button, its item selected, connected, and the try button is set correctly. Is there anything else I forgot? Who knows about the item ID? This is what we forgot. In try by item, we might want to go and set this one here up. So like on the button directly, because they don't know, I guess. Do they know? No, they don't. They don't know anything about themselves. Since we don't have connected the upgrade themselves, which would be probably better. So we don't have issues with the item ID. Could be something to optimize. Item ID. Otherwise, we would need to look, okay, who is now connected to that one? And how do we know this? So why is that now probably a problem? I don't know which item that is supposed to be connected to. So we would need to go and pick that again. And now if I change this item ID over here, all the other ones don't upgrade as long as I don't override them. So I may go over and put the corresponding upgrade accordingly, I guess. Yeah, that's a bit more safe. So I'm gonna put the upgrades for each of them here. And I just need to populate the item ID here. So maybe, can I make this one a constant? Nope. So void start. Not quite sure if start is too late, but I don't think so. I'm gonna say item. Oh, we need to have this one public. Public int, because we need to have access from the shop system, otherwise it doesn't work. Or we make it a protected one. I guess that could work. So again, item is equal to, or item ID is equal to upgrade. Upgrade dot item ID. So we don't need to mess around with that. I believe that's a bit more safe now. What we might want to do is we may want to go and hide this item ID from the inspector so nobody can touch that or ruin it or whatever. But I don't think that is even possible. So let me wait for a second so I can upgrade this one. Now we got on item directly, we now can pass in any upgrade. Once again, we cannot, since that is a prefab, we cannot really tell that this one item is going to get this one upgrade, except we're gonna do this in the shop system, and the shop system takes care of who gets what over here in order. Maybe that's not even not a bad thing at all. So we can set the upgrade from the shop system. and then we upgrade them on the fly. Sounds valid and maybe more secure. But let's try it this way. I'm gonna pick radius in 1. I'm gonna pick rebuild in 2. I wanna pick a reload. Reload over here. And in the last one, I'm gonna pick speed. We don't do anything with them values right now. We just wanna see if stuff is working. Wallet read reference. The wallet wants to read the content of them building of them things, but it can't. Why doesn't it can't? Let's see. It's called from wallet CS36. Inside level list. Who's calling this initially? The shop system in line 22. Shop system in line 22. It's trying to read the actual shop list item ID on the wallet. Why is it not accessible? Or why is it not there? Good question, isn't it? So level is existent on the wallet. Shoplist item dot count. Shoplist item dot count. So all of them are literally there. Oh, the item ID doesn't match on the shop item here. That's why. So gonna give now it's even uglier. We need to set the shop items ID based on the upgrade, I guess, before we do anything else. Or does it happen automatically? Let's try. Probably not. Oh, it does. So we got item ID 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so maybe at this point we don't know. When is the shop item? It doesn't know the item ID at this point. So let me make this part of awake. I could maybe also use on enable. But maybe it has to happen before the wallet is trying to access it. There we go. So now we're gonna see we got a price of 10, price of 10, price of 10, price of 10. Level is 0, and we got radius, rebuild, reload, and reload speed. That doesn't look correct. So this one here is just speed. And save. And let's try again. Now this should say speed. Because I were just putting this one inside the scriptable object. Pretty good. So this basically concludes the session about the shop system. Everything is literally set up so far. Of course, this level over here, the level 0, is happening because we don't know all of that. We don't add 1 to it, which is going to be literally whenever we go into the shop item and update the level, the current level, to this one, we might want to go and add a 1 to it. So we say current level, plus 1, which is not really the case. We need to fiddle out that probably later on. Say maybe like put a plus 1 over there. So we would read the content of element 0 but we show that we are literally at element 1. So the second level would cost the cost of whatever. So we can see now it's a 0, 1 over here. I don't know why there is this conversion happening over there. Probably I should just add them together and then convert them to a string. So they don't count like current level 0 and then adding a 1 as being a string added to another. So I'm gonna put this into pair of parentheses. And now we should see a 1 over there. Pretty good. And if I now would click on one of them buttons, we don't get any upgrades because we don't have any money. Because our wallet is literally empty. But let's try. If I have $100 in my wallet, what's happening if I try to buy? So now I purchased something. The radius now, or actually this number now is updating to a 1. I don't know what that means, and I don't know why this is not going to be updated. So maybe I have just shifted over some name fields, but my wallet lost $10. Now the fun part is, even if I go back and start the same game once again, this wallet still stays with the $90, as you can see. And also here, you're gonna see now it's reading correct. Now we are at level 2, and the next radius upgrade would cost 100. So I could only buy this whenever I have enough money. And that is the thing. We just store the information directly in here. You can also see here the item ID 1 now has a level 1 over there, automatically set it up. So later on, whenever you again release the game, you need to make sure that these set to be 0 again, and the same thing to the wallet. But for testing purposes, we can go and test out everything. Give ourselves like $1 million and test out if all the levels get upgraded correctly. Let me try to fix the bug where the level text is going to be wrongly updated. Or actually the price text. So the price text is going to be the current price or to string. So this one literally works, but this one here doesn't. New level, new price, price level text. So whenever I do purchase, it sends over some different, or maybe some wrong information. And this is going to be after the shop purchase. So probably there's something wrong. I'm trying to update here accordingly. Maybe it's the order. So the first one is the new level, and the second one is going to be the read the level. We don't want to read the level here for the price. We want to read something else. That's why. What we want to read is actually the price of the level of the item from the shop item list. Item based on this ID over there. I'm gonna copy this because in the beginning it works correctly, but in here I need to do I need to go into the shop item and find the actual item ID and then read the level of the price of this stuff. Like so. And then here we just say int new price is equal to shop item find item and read that price of the level of the item. So in our case, the level of the item has been increased. So I may go over level of item +1. Can we do this as well? I believe. Why is price does not contain shop item list? Read price. Oh. Shop item list. Oh, it's in, of course, it's in the upgrade list and not in the items list. So basically, we're gonna do the same thing as we do here. Just copy it, copy, and paste it over there. I can get rid of this because it's not needed. So level of item, literally +1. And now we're gonna pass in new price here. Control S for quick save. Everything else is saved as well. And let's see if all now works. So I'm gonna press play and see if everything has been or will be upgraded correctly. So this one is now level 2, cost is 100, radius upgrade. If I now purchase rebuild by clicking here, nothing happens. Interesting. Let's check my wallet. Usually I should have enough money, but no upgrade happens. But if I purchase reload works. So, but this number here literally is wrong now. So after each purchase in a shop item, the new level is not going to be the new level, or the current level, it seems. So updating the infos is still, still looks wrong. Maybe I'm gonna put this into a pair of parentheses here. Don't forget to save. And test again. I don't know why this upgrade button is not acting anyhow. I have still $70 left, but the rebuild is not being able to be pressed. So maybe it doesn't get the correct ID. Let's see. Should be ID 2. Oh no, yeah, ID 2. So ID 2 is here. Rebuild upgrade is there. If I press that, maybe the purchase button is not connected. Oh, yes. The problem now is I need to make sure that this one here also takes like it has the correct function connected over there. Of course, I could do this in the I could do this inside the prefab app. The prefab, but the downside is every of them upgrades over here is going to be the same thing then. So I just do it by hand and save again. And now I should be able to buy or purchase rebuild, which now updates the price correctly, which is fine. But the level doesn't show up. But if I now press again, it's gonna show me the current level, which is correct. So after upgrade, I need to make sure that shop item update infos, this level of the item is going to be set correctly. So maybe I'm gonna get and read the level of the item after upgrading it. So I don't have any issues, hopefully. So int new level is equal to level of item. Well, no, not level of item. We don't want to update this here, I guess. This one here should be new level, as I said. Is equal to, now we read the level for the level ID of the item ID just in case, because I have updated this one accordingly. And so we now can pass in new price based on the new level. And in here, we're gonna pass in new level, comma, new price. Hopefully that works now. are some issues over here. So let's see if they're still are doing any issues. I have a typo. Why is that? Why is that? That's stupid. Why does it do something like that? I don't know what I just did or pressed. So I'm gonna... Hopefully I haven't lost any, no? So... so I may need to repopulate the shop. Nope. Looks good. Save the scene. This looks literally correct. Let me upgrade my wallet to put in 250 coins and try to purchase this one. Now the next cost is 200, but the level still doesn't update correctly. So what would be the actual level of element 0? It says here it's level 2. But when I now hit that here again, it now tells me it is level 3. So in shop item, we may need to do the same thing here to this one. So we say +1 and put this into parentheses. So this is just a visual. So we don't intersect the actual item list or the item array. So let's try again. So now I'm gonna purchase rebuild. Boom, and now we got level 3 and the 400 standing over here. Here we should get another or actually we don't have enough money rate. So shop system works now, updated and looks correct at this particular moment. I save my scene, I save all my scripts and everything looks good. And I'm done with the session. So thanks a lot for tuning in and I hope you learned something. Probably it's a bit back and forth over here. But once again, I just want to give you the possibility to see what's happening over here. Maybe you want to do something similar like that. But in the end, once again, this package is going to be purchasable on my website, which I'm going to link down later on whenever it is set up fully. There will be some more time to be invested into this product, meaning now the next session will be about connecting them upgrades based on them levels to our actual rocket, like to the game manager. So the game manager knows exactly how huge the explosions have to be, how huge, how fast the rockets have to fly, and all the other good stuff. So we're gonna have to connect our levels we just purchase with our actual system. So my final step for today is going to be just reset everything back to 0. So every level has to be 0 here. Don't touch the IDs, and my coins have to be set up to be 0 as well. Once again, this can be, or this should be stored. Everything should be stored later on. Like whenever we are coming back, we should be able to see all our coins we just got by calling whatever is inside the wallet. Once again, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I talk to you in the next one whenever we are going to connect all of that content, I believe. Bye-bye.